Hello, void dwellers. One of the things that always made me feel like an alien on this planet, since I was as young as 6 years old, was the revelation that people around me are inconsistent. That people tend to say one thing, but then do the other. That people can say they believe in something, but then act in a completely contradictory way in a large amount of cases. It's like when I learned English. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that the language has rules, but then also like a billion exceptions for each rule. Why? Why are there exceptions if the conditions haven't changed? Because. And I don't know if that is like a form of autism on my part. Maybe I'm on the spectrum. I honestly don't know. But I can't do that. I never could. If I have a conviction, I have to follow it unless it has been proven wrong. It's like OCD. I cannot betray it. That is why in these US elections I supported Harris and not Trump. Even though I am not American and obviously can't vote, but the President of the United States is an important role globally, even more so when you're from Israel. And yet, most of my fellow Israelis supported Trump, but I supported Harris. Why? Because Trump said that windmills cause cancer. That some states legalized abortion after birth, that immigrants are eating pets, that he likes to be famous because he can grab women by the pussy and they don't do anything about it. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Not to mention that he told his followers that once he had been elected, they won't have to vote again because he'll fix it. And that's on camera, in his own voice. All of those things, they're not something that his opponents made up. There are recordings of him saying that repeatedly. So even if I completely ignore all the things that the people who were the closest to him said about him in their books and interviews, I cannot ignore what the man himself said. Or the fact that he is a convicted felon. And why? Because I have principles. I believe in truth, I believe in reason, I believe in science, I believe in facts. I believe these are important values for a successful society and a moral personality. So I cannot ignore it when someone says with a straight face that windmills cause cancer. I just can't. But many people, I would say even most people, apparently, can. Even if they claim to share my values. Most people have no problem being inconsistent. That's why Israelis support Trump, because they have no problem ignoring all of that as long as he's been friendly to Israel. And Harris, she was depicted as this huge anti-Semite, even though she's done nothing to earn that. And every single person I asked for evidence of that, at best gave me some quote where she said something about disliking Netanyahu. And I'm like, come on, man. His own mother disliked him, okay? He's not a very likable person. And speaking of which, that was one of the things that for decades drove me insane. The support he gets regardless of what he does or says. He is a liar. This is not an assumption or an accusation even. That is just a known fact. Just recently, he showed in a press conference a note that supposedly came from a high-ranking Hamas terrorist saying that their strategy is to cause divisions within Israel. Which, first of all, that's the strategy of every enemy. It's called divide and conquer. But more to the point, it turned out that the note is completely fake. He is simply a liar. And I can give you like a million more examples, but this video is not about him. The point is, I have many reasons to hate the man, but at the very least, I can't say that I am a believer in truth and honesty and then support a liar. But other people can, and it's simply inconsistent. In general, the biggest liars are the politicians. For example, you may have heard that Netanyahu recently fired his Minister of Defense. Well, there's this guy, Gideon Sa'ar, who used to be in Netanyahu's party, but left it because of their rivalry. And a few months ago, when Netanyahu was about to fire the minister, and people were upset about it, he said, it's an act of madness that shows that Netanyahu has other motives. Well, guess what? Now he actually joined Netanyahu to facilitate him firing the minister in exchange for high-ranking positions in government for him and a friend of his. They are all liars. You can't trust anything that comes out of their mouth. And it's the same thing here in the UK. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, he criticized Trump, so did his ministers. Hell, there were Labour members who went to volunteer for Harris, which, by the way, is another inconsistency. Oh, it's bad when Russia is interfering with other countries' elections, but it's fine when we're doing it? But the moment Trump is elected, he is all smiles, congratulates him, everything is fine. Be consistent. Have some fucking balls. He could have said, look, I'm not a fan. It's no secret, I hoped it would go the other way. But our countries have an alliance, and it is beyond the fondness or dislike of the current leaders. And as our allies elected president, we'll show him every courtesy and respect within reason. But no, it's all bullshit, no matter where you look. And I always say that in a democracy, the elected people are a reflection of those who elected them. There's inconsistency everywhere you look. And I just can't join in. That's why I supported the two-state solution for all my life. Because I cannot say that I'm a humanist and at the same time say that either Jews or Palestinians don't have the basic right for self-determination. That would just be inconsistent. But many people don't have that problem on both sides of the conflict. That's why I can't say I demand a ceasefire without the demand that the hostages are released and Hamas is disarmed so they cannot commit to any more atrocities. And at the same time, I cannot abide by prolonging this war and abandoning the hostages for Netanyahu's own political career. But many people have no problem with either. Let me give you a different example. A few years back, I saw this true crime video on YouTube about this British child molester who was imprisoned, and while in prison, he was murdered by a serial killer. And people in the comments, hell, the creator of the video himself, they were all celebrating it. And I pointed out that it's wrong, that it's an appalling failure, or worse, a setup by the system. And of course, I immediately got those virtue signaling idiots telling me I'm defending a child molester when all I was defending was the consistency of the law. You can't try someone, convict them, sentence them to imprisonment, and then arrange for the conditions for them to be murdered. And the guy was tortured to death for like 90 minutes. I think you'd be very naive to believe that no one knew, that no one was involved. Now, if the country as a whole decide to execute convicted pedos, well, that's a different matter. But you can't decide that you are against capital punishment and then make it happen anyway behind the prison walls. Be consistent. And that simple principle, which to me is basic, was completely lost on anyone who argued with me in that thread. And people get to some really bizarre and ridiculous moments because of their inability to be consistent with their convictions. That's how the new totalitarians and fascists have managed to kidnap the left and its ideals. I saw this hate demonstration in London under the banner "Fighting Against Hate." And many signs there had the genocidal slogan, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." Now, to those who don't know, the river is the River Jordan. The sea is the Mediterranean Sea. Between them right now is Israel and the Palestinian territories. To say that Palestine will be free from the river to the sea means Israel will be wiped out. There are 8 million Jews who live in Israel. The only way it's wiped out is if you murder most of them. So, second Holocaust, basically. And all over the world, you have people chanting for that second Holocaust under the banner of being against hate. And all the fake leftists online and on TV, they refer to them as peaceful demonstrations because, there's nothing more peaceful than calling for the genocide of 8 million people, is there? You gotta love how in their minds they are the good guys. Yeah, Jews are only 17 million in total worldwide. There's 500 million Arabs, 2 billion Muslims, 22 Arab countries, 57 Muslim countries, but the one tiny inch-by-inch Jewish state, that is the problem of the world. And they want to destroy that one state to fight hate. They don't know how to be consistent. People seem to just be unable to follow their own convictions, to follow the logic. No, you can't say you're against hate if you are in favor of destroying a nation and murdering everyone there. No, you can't say you're a humanist and at the same time support killing civilians, regardless of which side of the border they're on. No, you can't say you are a person of conservative family values and support someone who grabs women by the pussy and brags about how they won't resist because he's famous. And yes, many women voted for that man. And yes, there are black people who vote and support racists. And there are Jews who support anti-Semites. Hell, we even have queers for Palestine, which, yeah, I'm going to support the people who would throw me off a roof if they only could. Because the stupid human creature just can't follow a fucking straight line between two dots. And they think they are the peak of creation. What a fucking joke. You know, the thing that really kills me is that if you are someone that is actually consistent, actually following reality and the logic of your conviction, then everybody is angry with you. You become very lonely, trust me. Nobody likes that, which is a big part of why I became less and less anti-religion as I grew up, because what is religion if not the embodiment of being inconsistent with both facts and values? I mean, I saw this video on YouTube that said that in history there were stories and forbidden scripture that portrayed God as the villain. And I thought, yeah, it's called the Bible. Have you read it? The God character is fucking psychotic. This is the guy who decided because humans are evil, he will drown all land-living creatures. Everyone. Babies, puppies, birds just sitting on branches going, chirp, fucking chirp, I'm a bird. And this guy is like, fuck you, bird, I'm killing you and all of your kind. But for some reason, not fish. Fish can never go wrong, apparently, in the eyes of the Lord. And yet, that psychopath is merciful. Why? Well, after he killed everyone, he felt bad about it and gave us a rainbow. Fuck off! But that's humans for you. They are inconsistent in their convictions. Cruel is merciful. Immoral is moral. Genocide is standing against hate. So of course they need religion. It's part of their nature. It would be insane to try and take it away from them. So I have no idea where the world is going from here. I discovered throughout my life that I am very bad at predicting people's behavior. We seem to just vibe on a different wavelength. Sometimes I wish I could hibernate, just crawl into a cave and come out in 50 years or so, look around me and ask, have they learned to be consistent with their convictions? No? Then fuck them, I'm going back to bed. And then fall asleep for another 50 years. Until finally I'm asleep so long that humans have gone through some mental evolution and are now completely logical and consistent creatures. And maybe then I would feel like I have some kind of a home.